Welcome to Timeless Wisdom with Dennis Prager. Hear thousands of hours of Dennis's lectures, courses, and classic radio programs. And to purchase Dennis Prager's Rational Bibles, go to DennisPrager.com.
It's the happy hour. Yes, it is. Hey, everybody, it's the Happiness Hour on the Dennis Prager Show. Every week, forgive me, but come hell or high water, or for that matter, blood, frogs, lice, swarming flies, hail, you name it. We talk about happiness this hour because happier people make the world better, all right? That's simple as that. Ask anybody who was raised by an unhappy parent, and you will know how important happiness is. Ask anybody married to an unhappy spouse, and you will find out how important happiness is. Ask anybody who has an unhappy coworker how important it is, and you'll know. See? So no matter what, in all seriousness, it is the biggest. Happy people generally make the world better, and the world is made worse by people who generally are unhappy. Not that all unhappy people make the world worse. Some unhappy people do a lot of good. But all the people who do harm are unhappy. Let's put it that way, as a general rule. So happiness is huge. Now, I have a total departure from the norm. The norm is I offer you one of the ideas, usually from my book, Happiness is a Serious Problem. And if you haven't read that and you like this hour, I'm a little perplexed why you wouldn't read the book. But anyway, I'm not here to blame you. I'm just here to tell you it exists. Happiness is a Serious Problem by Dennis Prager, HarperCollins. Now, this is totally different this hour. I am here to ask a question of all my listeners who are over, and I'm picking an arbitrary age later in life, of 75. Should I do 70? 75. I want you, if you are 75 or over, to tell all the people younger than you the following. Now listen, don't dial in till you hear. And you young people, you, the rest of you, under 75, 55, 45, 35, 25, we in this society value wisdom so little that we don't make use of a potential enormous resource. Older people. They have lived life. Do they have nothing to say to us? Have they learned nothing? Now, by the way, there are undoubtedly older people who are truly fools. There's no fool like an old fool, some saying goes, I believe. But I have to believe as well that they have some accumulation of wisdom that we don't have. Look, here is my proof. If you are 45, do you not think you have deeper insight into life than you did 20 years ago at 25? If you are 65, do you not think you have some better insights into life than you did when you were 45? I feel that I am wiser today than I was 20 years ago. I just assume that. I've lived more. I know more about life. So here is my question. I picked a nice older age of over 75. And only you are allowed to call right now. I want to know, now listen carefully. You're already calling, and I'm going to shoot you. You can't call till I'm finished. You don't even know what I'm going to ask. Well, you might have an idea, but I want you to hear it specifically, and that is this. You have a huge audience of people younger than you listening. I want you to tell them the one thing, and I'm only going to allow one thing, and you can have your choice of questions. I want the one thing that you most regret having done, not morally. This show is not on morality. I don't want to know your sins. They don't interest me. I assume you've sinned. I just want to know, what is the one great, and this is one of my questions, but you can only pick one. Do you have one great regret in terms of your happiness? A decision you made you wish you didn't, or a decision you did, or something you did do or something you didn't do and you wish you had? that would have had, you believe, an impact on your happiness. The other is a more general question. What is the greatest one contributor to your happiness? Has it been your work? Has it been having health? Has it been, you know what? I don't think we should use health because everybody knows health is important. Forget health. Don't call up about health because you had very little to do with your health. I know you worked out and that's very important. I'm not deriding that. But don't call in and say health, okay? Putting health aside. The greatest single source of your happiness. Now you can call 1-8-PRAGER-776. Because 1-8-PRAGER-776 if you're 75 or over. I want the rest of us to hear what you looking on your life. Don't talk to me about the world's life or your nephew's life or your grandchildren's life or anybody else's. Your life. Looking at that. What do you believe has been the greatest single contributor to your happiness? Or, if you prefer, what did you do or did you not do that you feel has hurt your happiness? Something you wish you could do over again. 1-8-PRAGER-776. Don't hesitate. This is an invitation to all my listeners who are 75 or older. I don't know how many there are, but I believe they're out there. And here is your chance to make a contribution. For example, I'll give you hints, because some of this you may relate to. Some of the ideas that you might want to vote on. That has really contributed to you. You might say that the best thing you ever did that really contributed most to your happiness was getting married. You might say it was having children. You might say it was working in work that was productive and brought you a good income, and I don't poo-poo that at all. Brought you honor, brought you pleasure. You looked every day forward to work. Remember, I don't want you to give me the answer you think I want. I don't want any answer. I want the truth. I have no agenda. I want to learn from you. I want to hear what you would say to younger people is the single most important contributor to your happiness or the single most important contributor to your unhappiness. Maybe you had a lousy marriage. Maybe your kids turned out poorly, and that is the single greatest source of your unhappiness. So I'm broadening it to what is the single greatest source of your happiness as you look back at your life, and the greatest or the greatest single source of unhappiness. Because not everybody over 75 is happy, okay? Not everybody over 15 is happy, or over 5. So this is no reflection on you. All right, 1-8-PRAGER-776. Do not hesitate. 1-8-PRAGER-776. Evelyn in Santa Monica, California on KRLA. Whoops, I pressed the wrong button. Why did I do that? I don't know. That's a very tough question. There we go. Hello, Evelyn.
Hi, Dennis. How are you?
Hi. Okay. How old are you?
76.
You just got in.
I'll be 77 this year.
All right. Everybody will be something this year. Okay. Yes.
If I live that long.
Right.
My children and grandchildren.
All right. Let me ask you a question about that.
Okay.
Are you still married?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you wouldn't say your marriage.
No.
So your children and grandchildren have given you greater happiness than your marriage.
Yes.
Okay. So what do you therefore, now putting that question aside, I'm just challenging you, that's all, to clarify things. What would you recommend to a woman 50 years younger than you who's 26?
What would I recommend?
Given that is, if she says, you know what, Ms. Evelyn, I want to be happy. Would you say have children?
No, I would say get married and have a fairly happy marriage. But your children and grandchildren, in my case, have given me much more.
Right. So you would say, all right, I understand. So you would say to a young woman, look, and I don't want to put any words in your mouth, and I have no agenda, but I just want to know, you would say to a young woman, looking back at your life, Evelyn, that, my dear young woman, as much as you want to be professionally successful, happiness is more likely to be derived from children and grandchildren.
Yes.
Okay. I thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and happy birthday whenever it comes up. 1-8-PRAGER-776. Come on, folks. I know that there is a large older audience out there listening. And don't be afraid. I want to know the greatest single source of your happiness as an advice to younger people. If we don't use you as a resource for happiness, we're pretty stupid, I think. We'll be back in a moment. You're listening to The Dennis Prager Show.
This episode of Timeless Wisdom will continue right after this.
What's better than receiving rent on the first? Not having to ask for it. Stop wasting your time and let software handle rent collection for you. It's easy, free, and you don't have to be the bad guy. Get started at turbotenant.com.
Now, back to more of Dennis Prager's Timeless Wisdom.
All righty, everybody. This is Dennis Prager. This is a special edition, so I don't use that word just cavalierly, of the Happiness Hour. Every Happiness Hour is devoted normally to a different subject that I offer you as an insight into being happier. But today I am asking my listeners who are over 75, if you're under 75, don't call. And it is, what one thing do you believe has most contributed to your happiness, or what one thing has most contributed to your unhappiness? That's just as important for me to know. So please hear me carefully. That's what I want to learn, because this notion, and I believed this when I was a kid. I never understood this fascination with youth. I understand it physically, of course. Youth are more beautiful. It's just the way it is. But beyond that, what is the fascination? There's not much to be learned. Presumably, if you've lived life, there's something to be learned from you. Okay, let's go to Dave in Cleveland, Ohio on WCCD. Hello, Dave. Dennis Prager.
Hi, Dennis. Once again, great show.
Thank you. How old are you?
You're about 77.
Okay.
You're really a bright light on the radio.
Thanks
anyway, a lot. What I think is attributed most, to my happiness, and I think a lot of people, like me, will say the same thing, is keeping the Jewish Sabbath properly. Like abstaining from business, from driving, from media, being able to have one day to completely reconnect with God and family. This is the main thing that is, kind of kept me sane and kept my family and I committed to God and Torah. It's worth more than, all the money in the world, to just have that one day a week where you can, put aside all the mundane matters and business pressures and changing the world pressures and just kind of, connect to God and study
Do you have
Torah.
children?
Oh, thank God, yeah.
All right, let me ask you, and it's almost unfair what I'm about to ask you, because I have asked people to isolate the thing that most contribute. And by the way, I resonate a great deal with you on this. But I'm curious if you could have, and if you say it's an unfair question, I'll accept it. But if you could have had only the Sabbath and no children, or only children and no Sabbath, what would you have opted for, just in terms of happiness?
Well, that's a good question. I'd have to think about that. But,
look, even if you say...
I guess you could control... It's a tough question. You could control keeping the Sabbath or not, but you really can't control having children or not. That's, if
right. No,
God holds the key to the womb, as
that is it's a very wise answer. Thank you very much, Dave. Very wise. I appreciate that a lot. All righty, let's go to Alice in Redondo Beach, California. Alice, how old are you? Hey, Alice. How old are you?
Getting married and respecting each other.
All right. Well, how old are you, Alice?
82.
82. Getting married, and so marriage, your marriage, are you still married?
My husband passed away about 4 years ago.
I'm sorry to hear that. How long were you married?
About 55 years.
55 years. And that was the greatest single source of happiness in your life?
Well, I think when you respect each other, the rest comes naturally.
No, you're telling me how it works,
Yeah.
and that's another question. But you are saying in terms of happiness,
Yes.
your marriage of 55 years, for the benefit of many people younger than you, did you ever have fights with your husband?
We've had arguments, but never fights, really.
Uh-huh. Did you ever have a period of time where it was not particularly passionate?
Not really.
Really? So 55 years you were in love.
Yes.
That's terrific. And well, I guess you say the secret was respect?
Yes, I think that's the basis.
Mm-hmm. By the way, how have you fared since your husband died?
Well, I'm going from day to day.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you a question. Do the memories of 55 years with your beloved husband, do they bring you some peace, or it doesn't mean anything when you have an empty house?
I don't know if it brings peace, really. You get a little lonely.
Sure you do, and that's why in other words, I'm asking, do memories add up to happiness, or
Yes, they do.
is it only the present that matters in terms of happiness? I'm sorry?
Yes, they certainly do.
They certainly do. Mm-hmm. One final question. Do you have children?
Yes.
But in the sum total of things, you feel, as well as your children may have turned out, it was marriage that brought you the greatest happiness, even more than children.
Would you repeat that again?
In looking back at your life, as well as your children may have turned out, it is the marriage that brought you your greatest happiness.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate that. I'm asking people, only those over 75 years old, to tell me what is the single greatest contributor to their happiness in life, or the single greatest contributor to your unhappiness. The phone number is 1-8-PRAGER 776. That's 1-8-PRAGER 776. Catherine in Phoenix on KKNT. Catherine?
Yes.
Hi.
Hello,
How old are you?
80.
80 years old. And what?
And I can't believe it.
No, I know it is unbelievable. I agree with you. I totally understand what you're saying, and I'm far from 80. Which do you want to answer? The greatest source of happiness or unhappiness?
Oh, happiness for sure.
And what was that?
It is my marriage, my relationship with my husband, my present relationship with my husband of 56 years, which is, as we sit many, many mornings reading some devotion and talking about it and probing each other's minds and trying to figure out what's going on inside of us and in the world. I don't know. We say, where would we be if we didn't have this? This has made us grow together. But we didn't have that when we didn't know what we were going to have when we got married. We just knew that we were going to get married, but we were getting married for life 56 years ago. And I just looked at a picture of us cutting the wedding cake, and then I have another one of us just taken now. And I look, are these the same people that got married 56 years ago? And now how look at us. But we are one of the most blessed couples that I see in my relationship, it feels like.
Was your marriage always this happy, or did you have any rocky moments?
We never had any seriously rocky moments, but we were the typical people who, well, you just live life because you get it day by day, and we have 5 children.
So you would say, too, that your marriage has been a greater source of happiness even than your wonderful children? I
have to say that's right.
Wow, thank you so much. This is a great hour, and I hoped it would be. 1-8-PRAGER 776. Those of you over 75, your greatest single source of happiness or unhappiness as you look back at your life. I'm Dennis Prager.
This episode of Timeless Wisdom will continue right after this.
What's better than receiving rent on the first? Not having to ask for it. Stop wasting your time and let software handle rent collection for you. It's easy, free, and you don't have to be the bad guy. Get started at turbotenant.com.
Now, back to more of Dennis Prager's Timeless Wisdom.
All righty, my friends, you're listening to the Dennis Prager Show, the Happiness Hour. An hour every week at this time devoted to the subject of happiness. I've written a book on it. I've lectured around the world, in fact, on 7 continents, even Antarctica, yes, indeed. You can see me addressing penguins there, on the subject of happiness. Now, my question here is to only people over 75, and that is, what has been the greatest source of happiness in your life, or the greatest single source of unhappiness? In the hope that people younger, even much younger, might want to hear what in the final analysis will bring them happiness in life. Let's go to some more of your calls, and let's go to a male this time, Leo in Los Angeles on 870 KRLA. Hello, Leo.
Как поживаете?
Прекрасно, спасибо.
I'm 28 backwards.
Gotcha.
And I've enjoyed my career as a probation officer, a parole agent, and a clinical social worker. However, my greatest source of happiness is really my attitude. The glass is always half full. And I'm always involved in new things. Currently, I'm involved in being a radio cartoonist. You know what that is?
No.
I can't draw. I have to describe it.
Oh, very cute. Leo, have you been married?
I've been married. It'll be 54 years.
Right. But you wanted to single out those other things as the greatest sources of your happiness.
Yes. Although
okay, my friend.
My marriage has been happy.
No, I understand,
Yeah.
but I'm asking for the biggest one. Thank you, Leo. I'm trying to go fast. I want to get as many people as possible to get some sort of cross-section, and at the end I will try to make draw some conclusions, if there are any to be drawn, from what I will have heard. The number again, 1-8-PRAGER, Prager, 776. You got to be over 75, or 75, actually. And let us go to Phoenix again, and Carolyn on KKNT. Hello, Carolyn. Dennis Prager.
Hi, Dennis.
Hi. How old are you?
I'm 76.
Right.
And I have the regular things to be very happy about. One was I went to your last talk, and I'm the crazy redhead who'll die until she dies. But
oh, yes, that's great. You're a live wire.
Right, but all my things are regular. The family, the religion, everything like that I'm pleased with in my life.
But
what I have to say is I've had kind of a two-edged sword. I really love spontaneity. And all my life, I have never been as spontaneous as I wanted to be. Now, since I'm older, I realize the value of touch and a compliment and a hug, and I regret not doing these things in my life when I've been too grateful to articulate. And a hug and a pat or something like that would have spelled out my feelings far better than just trying to articulate, which I'm not good at.
Uh-huh. So you feel that you have constrained yourself physically
Yes.
Too much over a lifetime.
Yes, and I'm trying to get over that.
And that is your major source of happiness today, is acting on how you want to act.
Just exactly. In other words, being more spontaneous and realizing the value of a touch.
Were you married?
Oh, yes, 39 and a half years.
And what happened? Divorce or death?
No. He had lung cancer.
I'm so sorry. Mm-hmm.
So
you have children?
Oh, yes, I've got 3 gorgeous daughters.
Right.
Lots of grandchildren.
But you have chosen to choose as your greatest source of happiness the freedom to act on how you feel now.
Yes, and I regret right now not going to your last speech, and I was so impressed with you. I wanted to give you a big hug, but that bugaboo came up again, and I thought,
that's amazing. All right, well, next time I'm coming back, and you'll give me another hug. Bless you, Carolyn. Thank you. All righty, Jim in Denver, Colorado. Jim on KNUS. How old are you, Jim?
76.
Okay.
My greatest happiness is that I never did strive to be the richest kid on the block.
Never.
Never. No.
Right.
I worked all my life. I retired at 55.
What did you strive for, if not to be rich? What did you strive for instead?
To be satisfied with what I had.
Right, and you were.
Oh, yeah.
And what you had was, you're talking in terms of work now.
Yes.
So would you say work has been your greatest source of happiness?
No, being satisfied with what I have.
Period. In any area.
In any area.
I see.
I never needed 5 pair of shoes or 3 automobiles. And my family always, for the while that I was married.
So in other words, it's attitude.
Yeah, that's my attitude.
Okay, so it's another man voting for attitude. We'll be back. The Dennis Prager Show, Happiness Hour. Hey, folks, Dennis Prager here. This edition of the Dennis Prager Show, actually of the Happiness Hour, is actually dedicated to young people, even though I'm only allowing people over 75 to call in. I want you to hear, for whatever it's worth, what has been the greatest source of happiness or the greatest source of unhappiness. And none of you are calling on the greatest source of unhappiness. I think partially because people don't want to, and I understand that entirely, don't want to focus on that or believe they're unhappy. By the way, it doesn't make you unhappy that there is a single greatest source of unhappiness. You may still be relatively happy, but I would like to know, looking back on a whole large number of years of living, what might have been your greatest single source of happiness or unhappiness. By the way, one could argue there is no one single greatest, that there are 3 things are tied for first. But I still, as unfair as it might be, I am asking for number 1. All righty, let's go to Marie in Cleveland on WCCD. And Marie, Dennis Prager, hi.
Well, thank you for your program, Dennis.
Thank you. How old are you?
I'm 90.
Okay.
And I think that my ability to cope with hardships was the biggest thing in my life.
So again, we're hearing a vote for attitude.
Yeah, it's much easier to cope with the hardships when you have a half full glass rather than half empty.
That's right. So you always tried to see the blessings you had.
God didn't give it to you if you weren't able to cope with it.
So what did you have to cope with, for example?
Well, my death of my husband and left me with 2 kids to raise.
How old were you at the time?
In my early 40s.
You became a widow in your early 40s.
Right.
Wow. And you never remarried.
Well, I had seen a neighbor who had remarried, and the problems they had in their life, I figured I couldn't hand that to my children.
Do you wish, in retrospect, that you had remarried?
Well, if I had, that would be hard to answer because I never, anyone showed any interest. I fluffed them off.
Do you know why?
For that reason.
Oh, really? You just concluded that it would be better for your kids not to bring another man into the picture.
Because, Dennis, I was an old mother hen.
Yeah. Well, now that's clear.
Anybody would dare to criticize my kids, I would really jump all over them.
So you've been a widow 50 years.
Right.
Wow. You have girlfriends?
Oh yes, I was a Girl Scout leader.
Do you have girlfriends now?
Oh yes. Oh.
So they have played a strong part of your life in not being lonely.
Oh, I'm not lonely. No,
right.
I haven't been lonely. I've been active. I took custody of my grandson when he was 11 months old.
Oh, really? You raised him too?
I raised him. He was a handicapped child.
Wow.
And they told me that he would. 2 authorities told me I should put him in an institution.
Wow.
And I refused. And he's doing quite well. He's living in a group home, and he goes to a sheltered workshop. And we're hoping that we can get him out into the community in another year or 2.
Well, you're a great woman, Marie.
No, I'm just doing what God gave me.
Well, all right. I'm allowed to say it. You can't say. You are a great woman. Thank you. A vote for attitude there. Let's go to Howard in Ogden, Utah on KLO. Howard, how old are you?
How you doing, Dennis?
How you doing?
I would just like to say that the single most thing that's made me by far the happiest throughout my life has been giving to charity and giving to the needy.
That's the single greatest source of happiness in your life, was giving charity?
Absolutely, Dennis. I can't think of a better thing anybody could do than to see somebody in need and be able to benefit that person.
Well,
and I do have a single thing that's brought me the most discomfort and unhappiness in my life, and that was during a period of my life where I had mixed up political issues, and I listened to different talk radio about 15 years ago, NPR.
Okay, I know you're bluffing me, but gave you a great deal of joy. Let's go to Newark, Ohio, WHTH, and Chuck. Hello, Chuck. Dennis Prager.
Yes, Dennis, your program is the best I've ever heard, but the greatest joy in life is having one of those blessed marriages, and I'm one of 9, and all 9 of us have been married over 50 years.
Had one of those blessed marriages, and what? Say that again?
All of my 8 brothers and sisters and
all
myself
of them
have been married for over 50 years.
That's astonishing.
It is.
So that's the single greatest source of happiness in your life, marriage.
Absolutely, and I have
even more than children.
We have 4 children, 10 grandchildren, but the marriage itself is still the greatest source of happiness, and all the other just add to it.
Did you ever have tough times in your marriage?
Never had tough times. We've had hard times financially and so forth, but never had tough times. One thing we never ever did, we'd argue, but we never got nasty or called each other's names, and
right.
Never allowed it in our household.
That's terrific. Chuck, God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All righty, 1-8-PRAGER-776. Let's go to Ellen in Van Nuys, California on 870 KRLA. Ellen, Dennis Prager.
Hi, Dennis.
Hi.
I am 85 years of age, and my only, well, I guess you could call it a regret more than, I guess it made me unhappy, that I didn't have more children.
How many did you have?
Just one.
Why did you only have one?
Well, in the beginning, I wasn't sure the marriage was going to last, and then after that, it just didn't happen. But I have one son. He's not married. He had a bad experience in the beginning, and he didn't want to try again. But I'm blessed with him. He's a very good son, and he's a very devoted son.
Right, so you wish you had more.
I wish I had more,
right.
not so much for myself, but for him, because when I go,
I see.
He won't have any siblings, and
well,
and that bothers me.
Don't let it bother you that much. If they have friends, that they're okay. Don't aggravate yourself over that one. When we come back, I'm going to give you some of my thoughts on what we've heard. It's a very fast hour, I must say. We will be back. 1-8-PRAGER-776, the Dennis Prager Show, the Happiness Hour.
This episode of Timeless Wisdom will continue right after this.
The home team has 1st and 10 in the closing minutes of the 4th quarter.
Tired of missing the game because of your tenants? Let TurboTenant simplify rental management for you. It's free, easy to set up, and you don't have to worry about missing out on the big moments. Get started for free at TurboTenant.com.
Still going, brought down at the 50!
Now, back to more of Dennis Prager's Timeless Wisdom.
All righty, I'm going to offer you a few thoughts here in the remaining moments of the Happiness Hour, and don't forget, coming up is, of course, that terrific hour each week of whatever's on your mind. I have asked people over 75 calling in from around the country what has been the greatest source of happiness or unhappiness in your life. Never did this before. It's an interesting hour. And I wanted young people to hear their responses. After all, everybody wants to be happy, whether you are 5, 15, 45, 85. That's what people want, and they should want it. It is important to be happy. But there is no, you learn anything, but you don't learn how to be happy. No one is teaching kids that anymore, because we don't give them wisdom, we give them facts, and we don't teach them what will bring them happiness. And so this was, of course, no scientific poll, and I would love to have a scientific poll, but I'd like to construct the questions, if that's okay with the pollsters. But some of the things that I would like to share is, because I'm looking at the list here, and the lines are full again, and you know, Peggy 81, I love people, and people respond to that, and that's kept me happy. And I understand that. Jesislav in Chicago is 84. He's an Auschwitz survivor, the Nazi death camp, and he says, helping others makes me happy because I was saved by others. Bennett is 80 and in Los Angeles says study and education have kept him happy. Of course, we've had votes for marriage, the women in particular, but men have mentioned it too. And a couple of very quick things. I think we're raising a generation, particularly of females, that will be unhappy because we have told them that what is most important is their professional life, and that's not what people are voting for when they look back on their lives, even though that can be very important and very contributive. I believe that, no question. But when a girl dismisses marriage as, oh, maybe I'll do it one day when I'm ready, she is making a terrible decision with regard to her happiness, in my opinion. I think men are too, but it's especially true for women. Children were not voted, by and large. And children can bring great happiness. There's no question about that. But I say in my speeches on happiness, children have a much greater ability to bring you unhappiness than to make you happy. That's just the way it is. If your children are happy and you're not happy, you'll still stay not happy. But if you're happy and your children are not happy, they'll make you unhappy. So the final analysis, perhaps the biggest issue, is what so many of these older folks have said. It was their attitude toward life. And my friends, that's exactly why I devote an hour every week to the subject of happiness. Because in the final analysis, happiness most comes from your decision to be happy and how you look toward life and your philosophy about life. You make you happy more than anybody else. Don't go away. You're listening to The Dennis Prager Show.
This has been Timeless Wisdom with Dennis Prager. Visit DennisPrager.com for thousands of hours of Dennis's lectures, courses, and classic radio programs, and to purchase Dennis Prager's Rational Bibles.